if you're going to find the square root of a fraction, or if you're going to simplify the square root of a fraction, the first thing you need to know is that with a fraction, the square root gets treated as two separate square roots. So this is the square root of 200 divided by the square root of 36. So even though we write the original problem with one big square root, you can split them in two. You have a couple options with how you can work with this. Option one is you can reduce this fraction first and then take the square root afterwards. The better option is to just simplify each of them separately at the beginning. So, one part of this should be very obvious already. Can somebody tell me what the obvious part about this problem is? If I've got these two numbers for square roots, one of them should be really clear. Edwin? The 36. 36 has a square root. What is it? 6. So we already know the denominator is 6. So on the top, we're going to spend some time talking about 200 instead. So 36, that was simple. It has a square root. It's 6. But the 200 on top, it doesn't have a square root on its own. 200, though, can be split. Can someone raise your hand and tell me what two numbers would I multiply together to make 200 using one of the numbers from our list earlier? Look at the list if you need to, the list of square numbers we had earlier. I'm talking about these numbers here. Which one of these numbers would I use to multiply and make 200? 10 times 20, but there are bigger numbers that would work actually even better than that. Israel? 100 times 2, right? So let's go ahead and write that. 100 times 2. And 100 has a square root. What is it? 10. So this becomes 10 root 2 over 6. Now, most of the time when you're done with this part, that would be a final answer. In this problem, we actually have one more thing to do. Look at the numbers that are outside the square root. I have a 10 over 6, and this can be reduced. It can be simplified. If I treat this as just one fraction, 10 over 6, how would I reduce 10 over 6? Just talking about fractions, okay? Right, 2 goes into both of these. How many times does 2 go into 10? 5 times. We'll keep the square root how it is. How many times 2 go into 6? 3 times. So we reduced the numbers that were outside, and this became our final answer.